Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast of Taha Ahmed Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. We have a very special guest, Sanam Saigol from Lahore. And apart from being an amazing human being that she is, which I just got to know about like an hour ago, she is also a certified personal and a group trainer and nutritionist, and also a strength and conditioning specialist, right? She's also skilled in mixed martial arts, and she also has an experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. In this episode, we will be learning more about her journey in this field, and we'll also learn more about what actually inspired her to pursue mixed martial arts in Pakistan, right? And we also have Samir joining in us from Ironbox, and so stick around for an exciting proposition. Sanam, please tell us more about yourself. I don't know. I think I probably didn't do like a good job. So please tell us more about yourself and what inspired you to pursue your passion in Muay Thai, mixed martial arts, and what actually got you started.
Okay, so basically, thank you for the introduction. My name is Sanam, and in light of this, so yes, I'm an ISSA certified elite trainer, personal trainer. I'm a nutritionist, and I'm certified with a specialization in strength and conditioning. And the funny part is that, I used to train with Samir. I was a student, and he also motivated me quite a little bit to kind of pursue it, because not every time are you you just because you're good at training or being an athlete, or you're good and active yourself, doesn't necessarily mean that you will be a good teacher.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody to shed light on the fact that you could potentially be a good teacher, that's something that that really matters. And I wanted to kind of pave the way. So martial arts is something that I wanted to pursue when I was younger. But unfortunately, Pakistan just didn't have the facilities, and we didn't have coaches. Like something as simple as we're a nation that's also very hell-bent on cricket, so we don't really pay attention to what else is happening. So I was actually a footballer. I used to play football when I was in grade 8, grade 9, all the way down to I think A-levels. I remember I used to play football. I think right before A-levels I stopped playing football. And I wanted to pursue martial arts, but then again, I just couldn't find a coach. And if you come to think of it, even the UFC platform, which is the biggest fighting platform in the world for MMA, the women's division started in 2012.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. So
that's like a decade ago.
Misha Tate, Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey, all these guys who had emerged then, like they were obviously training prior, but the women's division opened in 2012, so there was nothing really
Platform.
happened, right?
Yeah.
So for me in Pakistan, knowing that we did not have this area at all for women, period, it motivated me even more to pave the way. Like I simply just wanted to pave the way. I was like, at least I can start somewhere. I started training in Karachi in 2017 at this gym called My Gym. I found an MMA coach there, and I started training with him. And 3 years through my training, I trained in Karachi within the areas of MMA. During this time, I realized that I enjoyed Jiu-Jitsu a lot more. I went for a training camp for Muay Thai to Thailand. I went to the Lamai Muay Thai training camp, which is sanctioned by the World Muay Thai Council. I was always interested in Muay Thai because Muay Thai is striking and Jiu-Jitsu is grappling. I really wanted to understand the difference better. And I wanted to also see what I enjoy a lot more. And for some reason, Jiu-Jitsu was just something that I felt like I could do. I was like, this is... And as a woman, I feel like... I'm not going to say better for a woman's body, but I'm going to say something that a lot more women can do if they have to pick a martial arts. Not striking is not for every woman, right? It's like it's not something that I never thought was for me. Like I love striking. I still till today I'll go on the bag. I went to Thailand recently in January for Muay Thai. But at the end of the day, I just felt like I was better at Jiu-Jitsu, and it allowed me to cope with a lot. So this is
What's exactly the difference between? So I mean, you mentioned like a little bit about mixed martial arts.
Yes.
In mixed martial arts, there's Muay Thai, there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? What exactly is the difference between the two? And do you think if like women actually want to start, maybe learn more about like self-defense, is it good? Because like I've seen recently that a lot of women are like starting in Jiu-Jitsu just because they want to get better at self-defense.
Yes.
Is it something that would help them?
Of course. So the thing is, the difference between Muay Thai, kickboxing, and like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, since we're talking about this. Okay, so Muay Thai, kickboxing, Taekwondo, for example, all these sports, they are called striking. They come under the category of striking.
Okay.
Striking is anything you play from stand-up. So anything you play from standing up. So when someone says, yes, they have a striking background, that means that they have their stand-up game is what they've worked on. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, all these come into grappling. Grappling is any kind of sport that you play or you bring to the ground. And it mostly involves around, body weight and control. So anything that you have to bring to a ground fight, that comes under grappling. Right. Also, grappling, I would not even just say just ground, because grappling also involves takedowns. So even areas where you are, even if you're playing jiu-jitsu, there are chances that if you play, there are two categories, gi and no gi. Gi is what you wear when
it's a uniform.
It's a uniform, which I would say it's almost the gear is a bit close to what judo players wear. But there's a resonance behind it, is that you use the sleeve and the collar and the grips to play. That's the game. You have to use the grips to play, right? It's human chess. And no-gi is a form of jiu-jitsu that is applied in mixed martial arts, because mixed martial arts and MMA is a combination of all. And when you're working with the combination of all, you don't have grips. So no-gi is the element of jiu-jitsu that is applied within MMA for training in MMA. So even now, very big grappling leagues, they always have both categories. They have gi, pure gi players, people who just play jiu-jitsu, and then there are also pure gi players who only do no-gi as well. Yeah, they also do no-gi.
And both these things happen here as well?
Yes, they will happen both here. Mostly the people you will see in no-gi are MMA players, but abroad, there are two categories. Someone who's just a pure gi player can also be doing no-gi. There's a very big chance, like that at IBJJF, there are two categories. There's gi and no-gi, and these people only do jiu-jitsu. It is not necessary that any of those people be doing MMA. It just comes under grappling.
It's very interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, so again, we're here to learn from all. So maybe, after this podcast, maybe I'll, also sign up for
take part in the competition next month.
I'm not sure about the competitions, because I have very bad luck. I'll probably injure myself.
No.
So is this the only thing that you do, or is there any other job that you have, and you're also managing your fitness and your passion on the side?
Yes, so I work full time, but I've always chosen not to merge my career with my passion. Fitness, nutrition, training, and my focus on mixed martial arts, particularly in jiu-jitsu. This is something that I never chose to merge with my career. I've always chosen to keep the two separate. I currently work full time, and I have all these aspirations that I have running on the side. I've always been asked questions like, oh, you don't ever want to think of transitioning full time? Of course, I have a lot of long-term plans that I have in mind. And the idea is to pave the way for people to slowly come forward. Like when I started training, there were literally practically just a handful of women training at that time within mixed martial arts and across Pakistan. I noticed that there was predominantly more activity for martial arts happening in Lahore and in Punjab.
Really?
It was not really
Not in Karachi?
Barely, nothing.
Surprising.
Wow. Very close to just a few competitions here and there, which obviously we've played. Carlson Gracie is the team in Karachi. There are two black belts right now in Pakistan. One is my coach. He goes by the name of Jazzy Lone. I've been training under him for a while, over 3 years now. And there in Karachi, we have Alisha Ahmed, who is running Carlson Gracie, absolutely phenomenal. He's one of the largest running jiu-jitsu academies in Pakistan right now. And also excellent students. We've competed with them. They're brilliant. They come to competitions. In fact, the recent Grapple Fest happened. His students also came. So it's these are I think the two areas that I would probably recommend people to go into. But particularly for women, any woman who is starting out in martial arts, one thing I will suggest again and again, and that's not just because I've been Sameer's student or because I'm a certified trainer. Please focus on strengthening your body before you come in, because it's a very big component of martial arts. You have
foundation. That's
the foundation.
Yeah.
You have to strengthen your muscles around your joints, not just for you, it's so that your body can move in fluidity, right? Even when you punch, your punch will not be able to come out with a full, complete range of motion and the strength at which if your lats or if your traps or any other area in your back you're not developed. Similarly, even in Jiu-Jitsu, right, you have to push, you have to make space. So the amount of push exercises versus pull exercises you have to work on. So strength training, I mean, if you want to be alive, you should strength train. That's just something that I've just come to.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. If you want to be alive, if you want to be somebody who's like, even someone who doesn't ever want to pursue martial arts, it's like,
True. Yeah.
strength train so you can lift your own groceries.
At least.
Strength train so you can open the car. Strength train so you can hold your kid with one hand when you choose to have a kid. Strength train so you can do everything in your daily practice without feeling like, oh, ab mujhe, Nadeem bhai ko bulana padega to pick up my stuff, right? It's one of those things basically.
That's true.
Yeah,
I agree.
What's your
100%.
take on that?
Yeah, I mean, strength training ke baghair to see me to be honest, like cardio is also equally important. I think like one has to do every day.
Yeah.
Like you just have to work out. But that's the bottom line.
It's always a combination of both. But strength training, I think, gets disregarded a lot over cardio because people think cardio will make you lose weight. Yes, cardio will burn fat, but who's going to build your muscles?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's just one of those things that...
longevity, I do say if you're not doing strength training, like longevity and sustainability in lifestyle, you can't do that without strength training.
There was this research that I was looking at, and they compared, I think, two people who had the same age. I think they were around 84, and one of them used to strength train, and they were still strength training. The other one never did. So when they compared their bone density and the muscle mass and fat mass, the person who never did had a lot of fat mass, but very small bones, like very tiny and thin bones as compared to the other one. So maybe, this can be something if you're looking to improve your health and longevity overall, right?
Absolutely.
How do you balance your career, right, as well as a passion now?
Okay, that's a really...
Because a lot of people they want to train other people, they want to start into this, but they just have no idea how they would also balance, because I think they'll have to transition. But you're also managing both things, right?
I am managing both. So the thing is that when the time to do my work is the time to do my work, and during that time I just focus on my work and I get that out of the way. And then I don't allow that to interfere with other things, and I don't allow other things to interfere with that either. So when I'm focusing on that, I've given all my time to that, and then that way nothing in that area is compromised. Right after that, in the second half of my day, I have the entire day free, and even my days within the week I've prioritized. So 3 days I have picked to teach, and then the remaining days I choose to focus on my own training. And that is primarily because I'm somebody who has taken a lot of time to bring myself to a point where I need to train every day. If I don't train every day, I just somehow don't feel like, I don't feel well. Like I feel like my body hasn't, my body needed it and my body didn't get it. But there are also days where I feel extremely depleted, but the days I'm extremely depleted, I'll just rest on that day. You have to listen to your body at that point. You just have to listen.
Absolutely.
And it's perfectly okay not to train one day in the week because you're not feeling so good, or if you're feeling sore, or if you feel like you're going to start going towards overtraining, which is very bad for you. You can get injured. And of course, sleep is like the main medicine. I don't think that we have ever focused or talked about sleep as much as I think I've started talking about it now when people come to me and talk to me. 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep can solve literally all your problems. If someone even has minor issues with their sleep, you can get injured. Not being able to sleep is not, you'll be sleepy in your training, which is why you'll get injured. No, your body just does not. Your body won't recover.
It also doesn't respond the same way.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Absolutely.
Your joints are not moving correctly. Your body's just not all there because it's not gone into a state where it's just been literally put out for 8 hours to be able to rejuvenate and then come back to life. And I think that's so when I go to sleep, I just think I'm dead for 8 hours.
But this sounds like a dream for many, right? And you sound like you have a very healthy relationship with training, food, sleep, and everything. Has it always been like this?
No.
What was it like before?
No. When I was younger, I'm talking much younger, I was bullied a lot in school. I was always fat shamed. I was always bullied. It was not something that, and I never really enjoyed, like when I was in my O levels as well, I was not someone who really, thought about sports as much until I was like, oh, okay, football, this looks like something I'd like to do. So I just went ahead and did it. But I think once I started doing martial arts, that was, I think, the trigger. It just put everything in discipline, because it was like, if you want to do this, you will first need to fill in the 3 prerequisites that lie in front of you. Number 1, your sleep. You can't be surviving on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. You are going to get injured. 2, your nutrition, like whatever you're eating. Like it's very easy to say, I don't tell people, oh, don't eat your samosas, don't eat your chai, don't eat your paratha. I eat it too. But don't make it a habit of eating it. Eat it once a week, eat it twice a week. But if you eat it every day, then you can't really expect anything, right? So to put yourself in that discipline. And then from there on, the third, strength training. When I started doing all these things, and of course endurance training and cardio, which like Sameer pointed out is very necessary. Like the more your cardiovascular health is there, the easier it will be for you to even strength train, because your heart rate does go very high when you're,
lifting heavy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And especially if you're doing CrossFit.
Yes, of course. CrossFit is like, I would say it's one of the most brilliant models of workout. And I was never like that. It's taken me to get here, I would say about 6 years. It's taken me 6 years for me to reprogram my brain, reprogram my habitual eating, reprogram the way I sleep, and prioritize life accordingly. I had friends in my late 20s saying, yeah, I just don't go to the gym, yaar, chhod do, aaj nahi gym karo. And I'm like, no, I will go to the gym. And I will see you guys later if I feel like coming whenever you guys are, because I need to prioritize myself first.
Prioritize.
I feel like that's the most difficult thing, to have people around you who like working out as much and support you in it. Everyone, the people don't get it.
Yeah.
Like your oldest best friends, they just don't get it. They'll just jhapad maro.
I'm blessed that I've been
surrounded. Mar rahe ho agar diseases se aur khane kha ke, so why are you fucking our lives up?
Yeah, true. But it's just that, over a period of time, I feel like I have been surrounded by, a very strong support system from my friends based in Karachi, because I was training in Karachi for the longest time. I was living there.
Yeah.
I had a very big support system who, slowly and gradually just accepted it for what it is. But there were also days where even after training, I'd be like, okay, now I just want to go sleep.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at a dinner.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. So if I had to give up that dinner because something mattered to me more, that was my purpose, and I have stuck to it. And I don't think it's not about not changing it. Of course, there are days where you bend it. You'll go, you'll miss a day of training, you'll go, you learn how to balance it.
Yeah.
But it's not like it becomes a habit. You don't have to go out every day. If you go out every day, that means you're not sitting with yourself enough.
Wow. Just a reminder.
Deep.
Very deep. I was going to ask, what would you advise these people? Like, how should they prioritize their own fitness, their own health, their own wellness over other things?
Of course.
Like, a lot of people do say they want to get fit.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to it, they'll be like, oh, the other
Maza nahi aata.
Maza nahi aata, ya ghar wale aise hain, ya we don't have this support system. Yeah. What would you advise them? Like, how should they actually do it?
So,
especially women.
Yeah.
Right? It's harder for them.
Enjoy doing boring things. Like people who look at what I'm boring, I'm like, yeah, but I've learned to enjoy what you would think. Look, so when we come into something like this, the first thing that I've noticed across the board, the first thing that I've noticed, consistency. You can't even eat consistently in 1 week. So how are you going to reprogram your brain to come consistently to the gym? Right? So consistency is key. If you have told yourself today that I'm going to go these 3 days, use those 2 weeks to make it to the gym on those 3 days. On those 3 days, even if there is a bomb exploding outside, you tell yourself, no, this is my time that I need to give to myself. And the reason why it becomes boring is not because we don't have anyone around us or someone's not with us or mere paas gym buddy nahi hai, main group class nahi kar raha. That's not the issue.
Those are all excuses.
Those are the deep subconscious, deep-rooted excuses we make not to do what is best for ourselves. The right thing to do and the hard thing to do are usually the same.
Yeah.
And when you have to sit down and you have to do it, like who wants to sit and come to the gym for 45 minutes, and who the hell wants to go through, for example, doing a few squats? They know that their thighs are going to burn. They know that it's going to hurt later. They know that. But it's just that avoiding that is where the work is. So the idea is to just be consistent and take small steps towards it. Like any normal, healthy, functional person has always taken smaller steps to get there. No one is the ones who may take the big steps and go, मैं तो हफ्ते में 5 दिन जाऊंगा, you only see them for 2 days at the gym. It's like, dude, first come 3 days, then talk about 5 दिन.
I want to add that 5 दिन वो भी लोग होते हैं कि अच्छा संडेज को बंद होता है, ओहो हमने तो संडे को भी आना था, फिर सिर्फ 6 दिन खुले होते हैं और वो 2 दिन बाद गायब हो जाते हैं.
And then the breakfast and the eating is even worse.
और फिर वो लोग, अच्छा मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि आपके साथ घंटा वर्कआउट करके फिर 2 घंटे वॉक कर लिया करूँ और so शाम की भी मुझे रूटीन सेंड कर दिया करें और वो 3 दिन में गायब हो. But slowly ease into it. You don't have to be over ambitious. नहीं वो गायब हो जाते हैं, वो 2 दिन बाद नहीं आएंगे, वो सिर्फ बातें करके चले जाते हैं.
Yes, and they're
so हमारी expectations इतनी unrealistic हैं. People don't understand, like everything else, this has to be a slow process. You have to slowly ease your way into it.
Slowly ease your way into it, and it's not the easing. It comes from the reprogramming of your brain. The best is I get is I only want to lose weight on my stomach. That's it. Well, then get lipo because it's the easiest way out. Don't care about anything else. First of all, when you train, you will never lose weight only on your stomach. You will lose weight on your whole body, and people have tendencies of gaining. I know someone who gains weight on their back. Right? I know someone who gains weight on their stomach. I know someone who gains more weight on their thighs than they do on their stomach. The place where the weight takes the longest to go off means that you have a tendency to gain in that area the most. But it's impossible to just lose weight on your stomach. Also, if you have made the effort to come to the gym, right, the best question is, यार वो मैंने ना सारे carbs निकाल दिए हैं, मैंने निकाल ही दिए हैं carbs. So basically, my PO is going to come and regulate your blood sugar for you, right? And when your weight plateaus and you're like, oh, uttar hi nahi raha weight, uttar hi nahi raha, then what is going to happen? So there is a way to eat carbs, how to eat carbs depending on your goal, right? And initially when someone's just trying to get fit, first focus on building muscle. Don't think so much about the carbs. First focus on muscle and bring yourself in a reasonable deficit. Not an abnormal deficit, but a reasonable enough deficit for you to gain muscle and lose fat.
You talked about consistency.
Yes.
So I have to go back to it.
Yes.
Okay? I want to ask you as well.
Yes.
What is consistency to you? Because everyone has like a very different definition of consistency and the way they look at. So
consistency is showing up for yourself every day. It's you show up for you. You don't show up for anyone else. You don't show up for the gym. You don't show up for the cute boy at the gym. You don't show up for anybody. It's showing up for you. If you are not putting yourself first, that means you have taught everybody that you come second.
Agreed. That's a very good point. Yeah. I think consistency is like Sanam said, it has to come from within and it has to be done for your own self. There can't be any, outside motivations attached to it. It has to be, it has to come from from within, basically.
The external validation is not going to come even if you come to the gym every day. Of course, people complimenting you after you lose the weight, of course that will come.
Motivates you.
It motivates you even more. But the first step is to do it for yourself.
So whoever does it, to cut you off, whoever does it for external reasons कि यार वो बच्ची फसानी है या बॉय फसाना है या वो
jealous कराना है किसी को,
cousin की शादी हो गई है या ex ने cheat कर दिया था, I'm going to show her how it's done, all that stupid shit. So वो कभी भी नहीं consistent हो सकता.
Maybe they'll stay consistent for like a week or two.
Yeah, they'll exactly. I mean, they might even do a couple of months, but after that motivation would die down because it's not coming from within.
Yeah. Someone did ask her, like you, a question, okay, how to stay consistent when they just don't even want to get out of the bed.
The first step is to get out of the bed. The first step is to get out of the bed, and I'm not going to shame anybody here. I'm not going to disregard anyone's reality. I'm not going to invalidate anybody's experience because I have come across instances where people legitimately suffer from depression.
Yeah.
They legitimately but this is a very, very, very basic problem. Exercise will cure that. If you ever even go to a psychiatrist, I mean, I know so many people who are suffering from depressions, and our psychiatrists around people are very quick to prescribe. Just go on these meds, just go on these meds. So just when we think that that's when the work is about to start, the work ends. Like the work ends there and then. The work cannot even possibly start because you have taken meds as a crutch thinking that that's your problem. The first thing to do is to wake up in the morning, get out of bed. No one is saying come to the gym. What I'm saying is take out 15 minutes. 15 minutes and go for a walk. Just go for a walk. Start with basic activity. Just bring in some basic activity. And no one's saying sprint.
Or a brisk walk.
Just make a nice playlist and just go for a walk, and also pay attention to the thoughts that are coming in your head about yourself. When thoughts in our head come out about ourselves, notice there's always this negative voice saying, oh my God, you're so full of shit, you're so fat, you're so ugly, you're so blah blah. You are not that, guys. Those are the things that people have said to us when we have grown up, or the way society has shaped us when we have been growing up. Those things have gone into our subconscious programming, so sometimes in some cases it's inevitable. And we think that's who we are. No, we are not that. We are what we choose to be. 100%. So we have to make that active choice every day, basically.
And let's say if someone starts, going to the gym.
Yes.
And they don't know what to do exactly about the mental health. They are consistent, they go there, but they're just not able to perform well.
Right.
Because of their depression, maybe because of the anxiety, because of their what other people have told them, their failure, they can't do what they've set themselves out to be. What would you say, or they should do to improve their mental health?
As a personal practice, which I have done to improve my own mental health, it's never one formula fits all. But what I would advise to people is, first things first, meditate. Open up a meditation, just simple guide. I'm not going to quote people who are master meditationers. Just go on YouTube and simply type meditation for mental health, meditation for peace, meditation for whatever, manifestation, mental well-being, right?
Yeah.
You can just go do it and you'll see what kind of stuff surfaces. But if you do have a serious issue that you've been struggling with in the past that hasn't been addressed, my first advice would be to find a good, reliable therapist, because these days everyone has become a therapist and everyone suddenly decides to take on people on board. First of all, do a little bit of research. Don't just go to any therapist, because your first experience with your therapist can make you or break you. So make sure 100%. You are going to a very good therapist, not just because my friend sent me a number and I just went. No, dude, go and find out whether that therapist is certified, accredited, and not quick to prescribe you. Psychiatrists are usually the ones that do it, but it's just that even if you're going to see a therapist or a psychologist, you need to go and you need to work through those areas and address them and make sure what credentials they have on their record, because your therapy is an ongoing process and it could take years, months to years with people. You have to unlearn a lot of stuff that's been very heavily ingrained. So my advice would be, first, be very sure about the therapist that you go to see.
Unwire and rewire all of the things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just like a trainer, except this is way more important.
Yes.
I mean, you wouldn't go to a shitty trainer, right?
Yes.
You have to be very, very careful. But this is obviously way more important.
Therapist is a trainer for the mind, right? So you wouldn't.
It all starts from the mind.
Best example, we wouldn't go to a crappy trainer and be like, "Haan, mujhe weights karne only to get injured and sit down back at home."
What I'm glad about is that now we are getting more aware of this, right? Now people are actually opening themselves up more and more. So there's more self-awareness.
Last couple of years have been good with it.
Yes, it's improving significantly.
Acceptable. People talk about taking therapy, advise each other to take therapy. The stigma is, slowly...
Shame is reducing.
It's going down with time.
I started therapy back in 2020 after I broke up with my ex. And but since then, me and my therapist have talked about my business, my fitness, my health, other people's health, and their issues, that are affecting me. And so it's just not one particular event that you
work through.
It's everything. Sometimes I just like to talk to her because of her energy. It's contagious. So if I'm feeling low or anything, it just makes you feel better.
Also because you just you're able to address things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to address.
Yeah.
Like there's certain things, okay, if someone has a toxic family, they can't go up to
That
people.
is
There's
right.
too much shame attached to it. Oh, अपने बाप के बारे में बुरा कह रहा है, माँ के बारे में बुरा कह रहा है, कह रही है.
There's a judgment.
There's a judgment being passed that, oh my God, this person talks like that about their family. Well, maybe their family is like that, which is why they need to go talk about it. But when you go to a therapist, it's a third person.
Yeah.
So you're able to release all the baggage that you're carting around since childhood, and you're just able to get it out in one go, and you're able to become a more healthy, functional adult. Look, what happened to you is not your responsibility, but
Talking about it and processing it.
How you deal with it,
but
right?
how you deal with it and how your attitude towards life changes, that is fully your responsibility.
100%. Wow. This is also like
Mental health is a very big part of training,
Yeah,
so it's
that's
something
true.
that, you know.
Yeah.
I have a question. Sanam, like I'm sure people come to you and discourage you कि भाई ये क्या लड़ाई ये लड़कियों का कौन सा
I've
sport
gotten
है?
a lot.
What's the stupidest question or comment anyone's made, and how do you deal with it? How do you deal with people trying to bring you down?
I was in Karachi in the gym and I was training, and obviously at that point in time he was my coach, but he was just someone who had gone through basic MMA training. He's not someone who was like a elite level black belt or somebody who was that much experience. But I was in the gym, there were multiple people training in the gym, and I was the only girl there. Right? Because, I mean, if people are learning MMA, you'll mostly see men there.
Yeah.
But look, I would like to clear one thing though, is that everything in the world is male dominated. So to say that, of course, abroad there are far more women in the sport is because the avenues have been opened for them. Over here, of course, but everything is mostly male dominated.
Yeah.
But
It's an
there is
upcoming thing.
But there is a significant amount of women now that have come in, and I have seen the change. So I am in a position to speak and say that yes, it is encouraged. The team that I train with, more and more girls have come.
Great.
Amazing.
So it's really nice. But I was training in MMA once. This must have been my second year training, and I was the only girl there. And a guy was talking to another guy, and he said, "Bro, ye kya ladkiyon wali harkatein kar rahe ho?" And I was standing there, and I was like, "I'm a ladki. Like, what does that even mean? What was he doing that you decided to call it a ladki wali harkat? What was he doing?" He just wasn't punching according to the way he wanted him to punch. So does that mean that it's a ladki ka punch? Because as far as I know, what I tried to understand out of it was that it's almost like he was using a female terminology as a derogatory term to put him, which is really stupid. It didn't make
Punching
sense.
like a girl, essentially.
Which is really dumb because it didn't make sense to me. Even at that point in time, I was learning how to punch. After like 5 years of training, now can I fully extend a punch out like this? It takes years for it to go into your head. It's not very easy. Imagine people who have been training since childhood abroad, kids who have been training in their literally juvenile divisions. Now they're like, black belts and senior colored belts in their adult divisions. Some of them are MMA fighters. It goes different ways all over. But like, when a sport is in its infancy, the idea is to just not give up during the time that it's in its infancy. Giving up is just too easy.
Yeah.
It's just too easy to sit down and be like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm getting elder, but maybe I can be the example for the younger girls who are 9 years old or 8 years old right now. Maybe they will have a chance to be like, okay, we can train in this.
Absolutely.
Because there were people doing it in the past. But if I just disappear and I just go like, okay, now this is my time to just walk out, I'm not doing myself a favor and I'm not doing anyone else a favor either. I'm not going to be the agent of change anywhere.
Yeah. So as a female athlete in the male-dominated sport, as you mentioned, what are the biggest obstacles that you've come around? How did you overcome them?
So there were both. There's obstacles and there were also positives as well.
Okay.
In my case, there were probably more positives than obstacles.
That's amazing.
The reason being is that when you train with men, look, men genetically are stronger because they have more muscle mass than women. This is just an understood fact. I'm not saying that, women can't be stronger. Women can, but genetically, they're just physically stronger.
They have more
testosterone and they have more advantage because their muscles...
Be careful.
Right?
Aajkal kuch bhi backfire kar jata.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not saying women don't have the
scientific
same...
fact hai.
It's not like women don't have the same strength. They do. Of course they do. But even with something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I practice, right? It's like you do strength training to protect your own body, and then you learn technique, because most likely if someone is stronger than you, you can apply technique and make your way out of it. The strength component is mostly used to protect your own body and for you to break away, right? And to create space. The obstacles, I would say, would probably be the fact that, yes, I did not have many women to train with, and I usually had to deal with, guys having their guy talk and things like that. I wouldn't say I was burdened by any of it in such a way. Yeah, a few derogatory terms here and there कि तुम लड़कियों वाली हरकतें कर रहे हो और ये लड़कियों वाला पंच था और या ये इसमें कोई जान ही नहीं है और ये लड़कियों वाली but the advantage I feel like has been is that since the day I started all the way till now, I have mostly trained with men, and the kind of pressure that men give you in training, right? Even abroad, I've seen women, they're mostly who train, there's no concept of ladki ladka, and I think my coach is really good like that because he's completely changed the perception. It's like when men are constantly giving you such high pressure, you're able to increase your strength, you're able to push harder, you're able to break away. You're able to, like, if, for example, one of my training partners is 94 kilos and he's coming to smash me, right, which he probably will, right, because my coach has probably given me so much pressure, it'll become easier for me using technique, yet a little bit more strength to break out, so it's like added pressure. Of course, in a competition, it's added advantage because I don't know how many women my opponent has been training with. I never underestimate anyone. But if you've been training with a man, chances are that your strength level will probably be good enough for a competition if you're going against a female. Right? And even right now, the females that all of us females who train together with males, they're motivating us and pushing us half the time. Like if they're smashing us, they'll be like, push, get out. They'll do something or the other to like make us constantly improve. And that is something that I don't think, and I've embraced it. Yes, girls did initially come to me when I started off doing MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, they'll be like, bro, like, isn't it weird, like, you're in someone's crotch and like, कोई तुम्हें यूं खींच रहा है और तुम्हें कोई यूं करके हाथ लगा रहा है, and I was like, you can tell the difference between a good and a bad touch. You are immediately and very quick to pick it up. I don't think I have ever had that experience in the history of doing martial arts in Pakistan with any of my coaches.
But have you ever been reported of such an event or such an instance?
I have experienced instances where there is one or two sadavandas within the community who might say something stupid, but then again there is always one or two sadavandas in every community everywhere in the world who will say something stupid or do something dumb. So just because of them, you don't stop being better and you don't stop doing you. You have to keep doing whatever you aspire to do, and you have to stick to it, right? Just because I get smashed in the gym one day does not mean that I don't go to the gym the next day. No, I will go to the gym the next day and I will try to get unsmashed. Like it's the kind of mindset you develop. There's a certain kind of mental resilience that you start building up, and then you decide that giving up is just too easy. It's just too easy.
And that's not what we are made to do.
No. I think life has a purpose. It's like everyone finds their purpose too, but make it have a purpose, right? We don't dig deeper. We tend to just stop right at the top. We're like, ab to main so gaya.
But does everyone find purpose? I feel like that's the biggest issue.
Everyone doesn't find purpose.
People don't end up. नहीं, purpose है नहीं किसी.
Because they avoid the.
होता है, होना चाहिए, but I think people dig that deep.
No, they don't want to. The reason they don't dig that deep is because it takes work. Wherever there's work,
it takes a lot of trial and error.
Wherever there takes work, that is where
the self-awareness, a lot of inner work that they'll have to do to like figure out what.
Thinking about everything, man. Deep thinking.
Also,
spending time
on a very deep level, when you start digging deep, you have to face reality in its ugliest form. No one wants to sit and be like, oh my god, I'm the problem. Right? Because initially when you sit down, you have to sit with so your entire life, if you've been hearing, it all starts with you. So no one wants to sit and dissect the fact that they're the problem. Everyone operates out of ego. मैं तो बहुत अच्छा हूँ, I'm so amazing, मेरे में कोई गलती नहीं है, मैं तो सही है.
सारे गलत है मेरे अलावा.
Everyone else is wrong, you're right. Okay, buddy, that's perfectly fine then. All right. Like, then you can keep shining bright and being right. Then
Don't you think this is how fitness industry is becoming these days? Like especially the trainers and coaches.
Okay, everyone thinks they're the shit.
हाँ वो अगर एक जगह पे है वो अगर
But I am the shit.
इन्हीं की बात की थी अभी.
So it's
No,
just,
you're right though, yeah.
I know it's an interesting observation that you said this. So it's something simple in my books. Sameer would also agree with this because I don't think at least my colleagues who I've worked with or at least my coach who I've trained with or anyone else thinks they're the shit. When you are great, you don't have to say you're great. You just are. And ever. And that's just what it becomes. People know you are good and that's just it. That is why our classes are packed. There's no space to walk. The gym is full of people.
I've seen that.
Yeah, there's no area to breathe. Even when we train students, like we're in the #1 team in Pakistan right now, and students coming in, there's no space on the mat, so literally you have to take a break in the middle until 2-3 people are done. Over here, like it's Ramzan right now, but like the classes are full, like the gym post iftar, like there is no space. We on an operational level also have discussions where we're like, oh yaar, like thoda sa bas manage kar lena, you guys split up, somebody goes in the corner, somebody figures something out. But when you are good, you don't ever have to say you're good. You just are.
That's true.
You don't ever have to say you're the best.
People just know when they talk.
Yeah.
No, but just imagine someone saying, I'm the best. How does that sound? That sounds awful. Like the fact that you have to say you are the best means that
you're not.
That you are not.
That you are definitely not.
When you are good, you just are. And you exude it, you embody it, you be it. And people come towards you and they want to be around you, and even when you go out anywhere they will come and say it to you also. And I think one of the most important things is just being respectful of no matter who comes in and where they come from. And I think that's something that Ironbox embodies to its fullest. No matter where you're from, we will give you the utmost respect and priority. And I think that's the discipline we follow on the mats as well when we train. Yeah.
What's Ironbox philosophy though?
Philosophy in what sense? Overall philosophy?
Overall philosophy of the brand, like what do you embody, like what do you
honestly
kind of like
just making the biggest fitness community of the country essentially. That's the goal. I think we're on our way there.
And where are you headed?
Yeah, I think we're doing a pretty good job, to be honest.
I think
slowly
you've got amazing people working.
I have a great team.
Yeah.
We have good clients. So many of our clients are literally like family. All my closest friends now that I hang out with are my clients.
Yeah.
So
can also be a part of your team if I move to Lahore.
Of course, yeah.
Why not?
You can be our official
fellow nutritionist.
No BS coach.
I need that T-shirt. I think you need to give me one.
You'll have to give all of us some shares. Bribe us.
Chota sa listen, Taha Fitness.
Why not?
Yeah. But basically making the biggest community, because there's so much leg pulling and backbiting and stupid Pakistani shit that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You will see it in the martial arts community as well. It's not like it's in one place, it's everywhere.
Nobody will sit and actually make the industry grow, whatever industry we might be talking about. We'll actually just say it and we'll bet ke, they all sit together, they decide how to, fuck with the awam, and then they fuck with the awam together.
Yeah.
So, because their goals are aligned, which is to make money.
Yeah.
But in this industry, it's not just about money, right? It's about something else. So there's a lot of leg pulling and backbiting and stuff like that. But I think we're sort of getting over it. There are some bad eggs that I don't want to name. I do want to name them, but I won't.
And the thing with bad eggs is but the thing also with bad eggs is once the bad egg is out of the box, then they're just out of the box, and they are and then they're just out. And I think what's more important to understand is that no matter where you go, particularly even in the martial arts community, there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of and this and that, and there'll be people trying to probe you, there'll be people trying to challenge you, there'll be people trying to say things like, fulane se iski fight karwa do, ye kar do, wo kar do. There'll be all sorts of ungal coming at you, right? The idea is the fact that any healthy, functional individual who's very secure within themselves will never have to put anyone else down. You will never have to challenge anyone. You will never have to probe. You will never have to do it. So I think that if you embody that as an individual, it just cascades across the board. Whatever else anyone wants to think, please go ahead and think it. You're free to do it. It's your brain. and you can by all means think whatever horrible thoughts you like. So
those people are just like too busy bettering themselves. So they don't have.
You just have to focus on yourself and be better, and whatever others
That's
are
very
doing.
important.
Acha, now tell me about your training. I'm very intrigued. How do you train? The way you train. I know you mentioned about your coach. So do you train with them mostly, or do you just do this on your own? And how do you also prep for competitions? Because we have to come to that as well.
Yes. Okay. So I train with my coach. For martial arts in particular, for Jiu-Jitsu, I train with my coach, of course, and I'm with my training partners. We have classes in the evening, and 4 times a week I go there, and I obviously attend the class and I train. When competition times comes, the coach basically changes the training model to something called a training camp.
Okay.
And a training camp model is where you start having competition rounds, so they're far more aggressive, they're far more explosive.
Okay.
And we have something called a shark tank as well, where 2 people come in the center and then the people on top keep changing, and then the people on bottom keep changing. There's a lot more mauling, there's a lot more pulling, and there's a lot more high intensity cardio spurts of it coming out. So the model of competition training changes a little bit, and then of course during that time your main focus is also recovering very well, so you can make it to training every day. And even pre-competition, like the last 2 weeks of competition, I don't really focus on strength training and lifting as much because you're too busy focused on trying to make your game more fluid. What you do is all the weeks before that, strength training is something that you should practice throughout, and that's something that I do. So I strength train about 3 times a week, focus a lot on compound lifts, and when it comes to cardio, mostly running for endurance and high intensity interval training circuits, basically.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of
6 days of training.
That's 6 days of training a week. Sometimes even Sunday, I'll just go for a run. I try to stay active every single day. Sundays, I usually don't do anything at all. I like to stay like absolutely free, and I do nothing on that day. I just want my body to recover. But I feel like my body has now become used to recovering with optimal sleep. You can train 6 times a week if you sleep well. If you sleep shit, please, my advice is don't train the next day, you will get injured. So the day I have had a crappy sleep, I don't think I will put myself in a position.
That makes sense.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense.
Tell me about your nutrition, and how has your background in nutrition helped you with your training in martial arts?
That's an amazing question. It has helped me a lot, actually. So yes, I took a certification in nutrition primarily because I was like, you know what, there's so much focus on when you go to a trainer, they're like, बस diet and आप boiled अंडे डाल दें और आप vegetable डाल दें और आप रोटी छोड़ दें और all kinds of garbage you hear, and like it's never a one formula fits all, but the one formula that could possibly fit all is the concept of consuming more protein. The concept of consuming more protein does not mean you disregard the carb. It means you alter the carb and the fiber in moderate quantities, right? It's like noji wo banana mein jo hai na, of course banana is high in carb and it also has like fructose XYZ, but the idea is also has potassium in it, so you cannot disregard. It's what you're taking your carbs from and in what quantities. How did nutrition help me with training? Amazing. I was able to understand the difference between when to be in a caloric surplus, when to be in a deficit, and and how to monitor maintenance calories, right? For example, if my walking weight right now is 70 kilos and I'm playing in a 70 kilo division, right? The weight division, the weight class is 70 kilos and I'm playing in 70 kilos, I will know exactly what calories and to consume during that time to remain at maintenance. However, if I'm playing at minus 66, which is most probably going to be the case on the 27th of March, right? How am I going to first come down in weight during Ramzan, and how am I going to take that month to strength train and start moving towards shred? So let's see how much my body weight can go down, and then obviously the rest you cut in water. And the reason why you cut your carbs during fight week is so that you liver retains glycogen, which keeps storing water. So that's when the carbs start. So it's allowed me to understand a lot within my sport as well, but it's also put me in a position to advise people better. What if someone has PCOS? What if someone has blood pressure? What if high blood pressure, PCOS? People have come with an array of problems everywhere, and they've asked all sorts of questions. And there is a way to advise on how to take protein. And then you have ones who हमने तो carb ही छोड़ दी, हम तो carb लेते ही नहीं है.
करना ही नहीं है.
And then there's a big problem with that, because when you disregard your carbs, your weight plateaus.
That and also
Fiber,
if someone's doing
glycogen,
everything gets screwed.
aspects, yeah.
So it's like they don't. Then I constantly get a query. I have weight नहीं उतना, it's just not coming down. I think there's also a lack of understanding even in the strength training process. Is that when a beginner comes, you don't introduce them to the stages. What is hypertrophy? When does it happen? Your muscle will swell up a bit. If you control your diet correctly, then it will start becoming leaner. The way the knowledge is imparted, I feel like I have seen the way the knowledge has been imparted at the box. I've seen the way the knowledge is imparted with the team that I train with. But other than that, I feel like there's a big issue. People just like to believe that they're giving the right advice, but they don't really give the right advice. So it's like you may want to research accurately about what
100%.
you do.
I got a question once. Someone was like, Taha, I do HIIT 5 times a week and I'm on keto. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Dude.
Good luck to you 2 months later when all your weight comes back.
When you have your first naan and you
One
need your
naan.
10
Just one.
Just imagine,
Just
if
one
you're doing
naan.
HIIT, you need rapid source of fuel, right?
Yeah.
And if you cut down on carbs, you don't have
glycogen. Yeah, and it's just
Boy should have been eating a banana.
It was a girl.
Oh, girl should have been eating a banana.
Yeah, actually, मेरे पास भी it's mostly girls who come with the question about keto.
And cardio. बस cardio करा दो.
हाँ, और क्या मैं बड़ी हो जाऊंगी कि मैंने वो
नहीं, lifting weights will make me bulky. I look like a wrestler. I was like, that's
I wish
amazing.
it was that easy, man.
I was like,
I swear to God.
I swear, मतलब हफ्ते में एक दफा weight उठाओ बड़े हो जाओ.
बड़े हो जाओ. I wish it was that easy.
So I think ever since 2019 or 2020, I have tried very actively to hit 95.
Wait,
Still 88.
it's not easy, man. And like I don't know why there's this misconception. I was at a corporate training the other day that I was explaining this to them as well. That weight training will not make you big. You have to weight
It will
train.
make you leaner, and
you
how you program.
The more
listen to
muscle
your
you
both.
have, the more calories you're burning. It all falls in place. But it's a process,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
ये तो नहीं होगा कि पहले हफ्ते में आपको फर्क पड़ना
A
चाहिए.
lot of women think because they've been told so, because of the internet.
Yeah,
and other,
internet. I feel like our older generation also fucked a lot of things up for us.
Yes.
They think
A lot of
if
things.
they lose,
पतली होनी चाहिए, प्यारी होनी
गोरी
चाहिए,
होनी
तो आप
चाहिए।
जिम ही ना जाए कभी. आप बस जो है ना नॉर्मल भिंडी
तो
और
यही
रोटी
होता
खाएं
है.
घर पे. और
तो
आपको
लोग पतले जो हमारे क्लाइंट्स होते हैं लोग उनसे पूछते हैं कि तो आपको क्या जरूरत है जिम की? आपको क्या जरूरत है जिम की?
the concept of overall fitness and health is just was very
I'm
misunderstood.
living with that. So I just
Just chop it out. But no, it's the concept of health. Like I agree with Sam, the elder generation, because the fitness revolution in Pakistan just came up until just a few years ago.
Yeah.
I would say 8
6
years.
to
8 years
yeah.
tops.
Max.
Let's
Yeah.
like
2013.
something simple that I'd like to even highlight here is that even when I was playing football, this is when I was in my O levels. I must have been about 16 years, 15,
Yeah.
16 years old. Our generation has I mean, I'm not going to say our generation, but the generations even younger than us. I'm not trying to sound like I'm some oldie here, but like, I'm not going to disregard the fact that during that time, there was no active wear for women. I went into
Very important.
That's actually very
I went into a very popular brand flagship store in Karachi, and there was no sports bra on the rack. There were no tights. There was no shorts. There was just t-shirts.
Cotton ki wo bhi.
Okay, and
short, yes.
jogger. Okay, there was just t-shirt and jogger. There was no active wear, and now suddenly in the last 2 years, boom, you see sports bras all over the internet. You have online buying, you have this, you have that, you have all these influencer marketing related. It's like, okay, great, but please let's not disregard that era where we had no active wear. Okay, my first sports bra had to come from the UK. Okay, and I had two, and I wore them until they fell apart. So I am going to highlight that right now, is that even as we're growing older, we're still so driven to make the change, because now we're getting the facilities and the empowerment to do it. At that point in time, when you don't have a coach, you don't have active wear in a shop, what exactly do you do? You just mentally aspire to get there, and you manifest it. That's all you can do at that point in time.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So this is it.
Very true. now that I'm just thinking about it, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's the truth.
यार athletes के पास अभी भी like they don't have proper attire. I mean,
National
the financial part is a different one, but availability is also a big issue.
Yeah.
Abhi bhi har cheez available nahi hai. So, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, like there was like when I was playing football, I remember my first sports bra had to come from the UK, which was given to me, and I was wearing that, and I was 15, 16, and even my shorts that I had, I was wearing my brother's shorts. He had a pair of Adidas shorts that I had taken from him, and he also used to look at me like, you've taken my shorts, and I was just like, yeah, I've taken your shorts. And he also had like, so even the socks I was wearing were dude socks. Like they came till here. Football ke socks to yahan tak aate the, because obviously aapke thighs nahi nazar aane chahiye. So I had to figure out a way to do it. So like when I would go, I was like, they're no tights, right? If they're no tights, then I would have to wear shorts, right? Because I'm definitely not wearing those, those black pants that have a white stripe running around with button on them. I'm like, I'm not playing football in any capacity whatsoever. So this is what I'm saying. Like people have completely disregarded that era where like I feel like there were no clothes. Now suddenly I look at the activewear and I'm like, wow, all these brands have popped up. And they've sent activewear. Of course, I would also like to highlight that Ironbox has taken its own incentive as well and is going to be launching an apparel line.
Actually, guys, stay tuned for that.
You're already wearing one. Where's mine?
Top tier.
Yeah, we'll exchange.
Yeah. Barter system.
I have to head out.
Oh, you have to head up?
I have a meeting downstairs.
Right now?
Yes. But I think you guys should continue and finish this.
Sure.
Yeah, take your time. I'll try कि कोई आधे घंटे तक ऊपर ना आए.
Okay. But, alright. Tell me, as a national Jiu-Jitsu player, right?
Yes, well, I mean, technically it would be national because, I mean, people from all over the country come to play the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's technically, every tournament is mostly a national event.
What are your future goals?
Okay, so my future goals is that within the country, at least, I'd like to play up until I can play, right? And at a certain point, if I ever have to retire, I will. Obviously, age will probably be the only factor, but I'm not going to allow that to be a factor because even abroad, in the area of Jiu-Jitsu, there are two categories. One is called World Masters and World Masters 2. Okay. World Masters contains people who are 30 to 35, and then World Masters 2 has people 35 and above. So they have obviously far more competitors in that division, is because they've opened it up to that level for people to be able to do. I would like to be able to do that for this country. And I would like to pave the way with, so one of my training partners, his name is Sharyar Qureshi. I've been training with him as well here with our coach. We train out of a gym called OB Fitness MMA. Our previous gym was called Rogue. He conducted, he hosted this entire thing recently, which was called Grapple Fest. It was Pakistan's largest fighting premier league for Jiu-Jitsu, and it happened here at Lahore Garrison University just, in fact, a couple of weeks ago. Really, really good. Really, really good. He said he's actually trying to set the bar for Jiu-Jitsu very high now, and a lot of credit goes to him.
Yeah.
And I would like to support him in the next event as well as much as I can, because now what you do is when you host one competition, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
And then what you want to do is you want to keep improving it until you become the best in the country at doing it. So my way forward would be to just constantly keep paving the way for more women to keep coming into the sport, so that they know that there are women in this sport. No one is leaving. And now that's exactly what's happened. There's so many girls doing Jiu-Jitsu now. It's insane. The amount of females that showed up at Grapple Fest, I was just like, wow. Even at Nationals that happened last year, there were a very significant amount of females, and some competitors in the national event are all from WAPTA, some are from the Army, some are from the Navy. There's an assortment of people. Of course, then again, there's politics everywhere, but wherever you can avoid it and just make your way through, you just have to keep pushing and you have to keep doing your best at what you do.
Are you still going to be competing, like, nationally or abroad as well?
Yes, I
do.
Do
you have any plans?
I do. I would love to compete. It's my dream to compete IBJJF, which is the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation abroad. It has been my dream to at least play at IBJJF somewhere in my lifetime. So, of course, it's going to be hard. I mean, I didn't start Jiu-Jitsu when I was like 6 years old, unlike all those players. But it's, even if I could just get the exposure of being there on those mats with and being able to compete with world-class athletes, I think that would be something that I've always wanted to do, and I will do it. I will do it.
You will definitely
I think I made up my mind.
Do you have a support system here, or
A lot of credit goes to my coach and a lot of credit goes to my training partners, Jazzy and Sherry particularly. I'm going to highlight over here. I'm also going to highlight Coach Wakar, my training partners, a lot of other people in the gym who train with Jameel.
Jameel Chandia?
Jameel, no. Jameel Rizvi. Jameel Rizvi. I'm going to give a lot of credit to all the guys who I've been training with in the gym as well. There's just a lot of drive and there's a lot of passion to do something because we actually very genuinely love Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
We very genuinely love the sport, right? And there was this conversation we were having once and we're like, when did it start becoming a sport and stop becoming an art? Because it's the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I think it's the art in general. I think we're so passionate about it, all of us as a collective, that now we've just decided that, you know, we're just gonna keep it really high now.
Interesting.
So that's my way forward for it. And of course, my certification I pursued is not just because I wanted to be someone who competes. Of course, I like to compete. I also like to train, but my certification I took to be able to teach as well. So it's like, because I'm doing all of it, I know how to impart the knowledge to you too. And whatever amounts I can impart the knowledge to you, I will. And there are a lot of women out there who would be like, oh, we're not comfortable going to a male trainer. Why can't?
That's fine.
So, which is also okay. So
and that's where you come.
If they have an option to come to a female trainer, then come to the
That would be so lovely if they have an option available.
Of course.
Is there any other female coach who teaches Jiu-Jitsu?
I am not sure about that. I have not come across.
What about in Karachi?
In Karachi, Ali Shah's academy has his own students who teach children, I guess. They have a kids class there, and there are also a few girls training over there. I don't know if they give individual lessons to women. I'm not sure about that because they have a wonderful space there. I don't know any women in the country right now, because if there was a woman, I would probably be learning from her.
Yeah.
But because there was no option at the level that I wanted to learn at, I have mostly trained with men. Even my coach till today, like, he's right at the top. So I don't think I would want to train with anyone else. If I'm being able to get that level of training, I would never compromise that level of training for anyone.
Yeah, why would you?
Why would I?
Achha, tell me, how many competitions have you won so far?
I think I've done about
This is going to be very
three. So yes, I did the Nogi Karachi BJJ Winter Open. I played in 2019 Feb, I believe. I competed in the Nogi division only. I didn't compete in the Gi division that time because I was training mostly in MMA. I won a gold medal there, and then the second national happened in Karachi. It was a regional more, like it was mostly people from other cities had come as well to that tournament. There was the Sindh Jiu-Jitsu Championship, and I bagged a bronze there, and then I just bagged a silver at Grapple Fest, and there were a few other comps, just open mat related comps that had happened in Karachi, which I had attended here and there. I don't think there was any cash prizes and stuff, but you just go for open mats and you train with other gyms and you kind of get exposure to train with them. I've done a lot of that as well. I've trained abroad. I've trained at this place called Corvos Combat based in Istanbul. They had very, very good players there. I went to an academy in the US. Everywhere I've gone around the world, I've always gone to a martial arts gym there. That's just been my own practice. Muay Thai is something that I just generally like doing. I don't think I at some point in my life, I think when I started martial arts, I was very tempted to fight MMA and fight Muay Thai. Even right now, sometimes I'm like, but I don't think that I'd ever want to, but it's something that I've just enjoyed working through as a practice. Like, striking is very different from grappling. I just love grappling. I don't think I can ever hold striking to the same standard, but I do love it. Like, striking is something that bag work. Somebody asked me once, like, oh, maybe you don't want to strike because you don't want to get hit in the face. I was like, no, I have been hit in the face. I have broken my nose. Yes, I have been in situations. Yes, I have like chipped my tooth. I have been, my eye has come to here. I have gone through all that. It just happened to be during the time that I was training MMA that there were no opponents in my weight class. There were lesser people. Does that mean that I want to still train MMA? I mean, if I'm better at Jiu-Jitsu, then I wouldn't just go and start training in MMA, right? If I've already paved my way in one area. But Muay Thai, the Thais, it's their national sport. They're literally born into it. The guys teaching it and imparting the knowledge to be able to train you. They're people with like 500-600 fights on their record.
Wow.
Muay Thai is also, I mean, other than the fact that it's relatively more violent, it's also they call it the art of 8 limbs. And the reason being is that in kickboxing, you're only allowed punches and kicks, but in Muay Thai, you are allowed knees and elbows.
Wow.
You're allowed knees and
it's
you're allowed
aggressive.
elbows. It's far more aggressive. It's got the distance to close is shorter. The stance is a little bit more different. I personally really enjoy it. When I was in my camp in Thailand, I was sparring with people from around the world as well. I really enjoyed it. Would I like to play a Muay Thai fight? Yeah, I guess. I wouldn't mind.
Maybe once in a month?
Yes. Would I like to? Yes, I would. But what do I love more? Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes. Would I like to play a Muay Thai fight? Yeah, why not? And the thing is that there are a few women who approached me regarding kickboxing and when they wanted to do it. So obviously, when you learn kickboxing or when you learn Muay Thai, I learned more kickboxing and Muay Thai because of MMA.
Yeah.
And when I was learning it, you learn how to pad as well. So you learn how to hold the pads, you learn how to make combos, and you learn how to impart the knowledge. You learn how to train others as well.
That is interesting.
Yes, you learn how to hold the pads for someone to kick. You're able to give them and direct the right combos. You're able to point out their form. If someone is not punching correctly, someone's not using a push kick correctly, someone is not sweep. Even Muay Thai has sweeps. Jiu-Jitsu is not the only thing that has sweeps. It's almost like how you impart the knowledge. So I think striking, I recently went again primarily because I wanted to do a little bit of a refresher at the camp, and I wanted to be able to learn some more techniques to be able to impart to my clients. And yes, the class that we're going to be having is called Body Combat. It's high intensity interval training using bodyweight exercises from Jiu-Jitsu, and also light weights, as well as a lot of striking exercises put together to go through, I would say, fat loss and muscle building.
It sounds like it's very well thought out.
Yeah,
right?
now it's well thought out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
I know you're very passionate about it. You do sound like it, right? Can you share with us any of your favorite maybe memories that you have from these competitions? Like something that you really loved about yourself or about the event that you competed in?
Of course, like my first event, I never thought that I'd get a gold medal. That was just something that so my coach and I, at that point in time, there was this voice in my head that was just like, you're not good enough, you're so full of shit, you're so pathetic. And I was just like, oh my God. And this guy is telling me to go and fight in a tournament. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, and I always had it in me, I always wanted to do it, but there's still that anxiety that starts coming up. Oh my God, because you're going up against a human being, you're not going up against a robot, right? You're literally going to have a person coming at you trying to maul you. So it's something to think about whether you want to be in that predicament or not.
Yeah.
And initially I was like, you know what, I think I could do this. This doesn't seem like something I can't do, but at the same time, that voice in your head that constantly tries to cripple you, it was there. And I obviously reflected on it. I went forward. I still went ahead with it. I was like, he's like, of course, nobody goes to lose. You go to win. But just in case you don't, that should not even cripple your spirit either. Right? The idea is to get in there and go do your best. What do you do in life? You go out there and you do your best, right?
That's
the same thing applies. Of course, you go to win. But just in case you don't, that should motivate you even more to find the holes in your game. So my most memorable thing was that I was not expecting a gold medal. I was going up against a girl who was training far longer than me.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then when I got there, I initially went for the takedown and I got it. I scored the points. And after that, when I scored the points, I scored more points. And then literally in the last 1 minute of the round, the score came to a tiebreaker. We both. And what happens is when it's a tiebreaker, they'll keep increasing the round by 1 minute until someone scores points. And then in that last 1 minute, I ended up scoring an insane amount of points. And then I think I just went ahead and...
Do we have any video available?
I'm
sure people...
I will try to find a video. Yes, I will try to find a video. I don't have videos of all my tournaments because I think at that point in time we're so focused that you don't think. Even recently, one of my fights that I had at Grapple Fest, I don't have any footage of it because I was so focused on just getting on the mat that I just left my phone and I was like, no, I just want to go fight.
Yeah.
So I never gave my phone to anyone to go take a video or whatever, but whatever I have, I will share with you. But yes.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Just put it in the video.
Sure.
Wow. I've competed once, and that was in men's physique bodybuilding.
Oh wow, that's pretty big.
In Karachi, it was Mr. Karachi something.
Okay.
And I went in there just like you. I just want to experience how it feels like to be on stage.
Yes, of course.
I went there, I won. Didn't know that I would. but that was the only time that I've ever competed in Pakistan because of how unfair the system is.
Of
So I'm not sure
course.
how it is like you know, in MMA or Jiu-Jitsu.
It's equally flawed in the sense that whoever has moderated these events has tried to make it as fair as possible. Let's just put it that way. Because wherever you go, there will always be some unfair advantage according to how you've built your perception. But this recent event that happened, or whichever other happened, they try to make it as fair as possible. I can't speak for everyone, but at least my training partner, the event that he hosted, we tried to make it as fair as possible. The one that happened in Karachi, one of those events for me was not fair because they made something called on. So there's two models in fights.
Okay.
One is called a round robin. Round robin is when all the opponents go against each other, right? And then the other one is where brackets are made, where they're all knockout fights. So if you go up against the first thing and you lose, you're out. So even in that tournament, like even if you win anything, it's a big deal. It doesn't matter. Even if you come in the top 3, it's great. The idea is to just go in there. No one goes in to lose. Of course you don't.
Of course no one
But
does.
what I'm trying to say is that just in case you don't win, that should be a bigger motivation for you to go and become better and fix the holes in your game.
Yeah.
Right? There's also a lot of fear attached to, if I lose. No, what if, so what?
What people say.
So yeah, there's a lot. Like a lot of people have a fear of losing. It's like, dude, it's not the right mindset to have because there will be good days and there will be bad days. You have to do what you want to do because you want to do it and you have to go give your 100%. You can't be like, oh, I'm not going to go in there because there will be a day where you will not get a gold medal.
Yeah.
That's fine. There will be a day where you will get no medal. There will be a day where you will get a bronze medal. But no matter what you do, that makes you the best. Because at the end of the day, you're the person who can put your hand up and be like, yeah, I may not have gotten number 1, but I competed the division.
But I've consistently
competed the division, right? That still makes me better than somebody who's only done one tournament and gotten the gold.
100%.
That still makes you better than someone who's gotten one tournament, played one tournament and after gotten a gold medal and sat down. Though whatever you have won after that or participate in still makes you better than the person that's only done one.
Same thing I told one of my fat loss clients. She didn't lose any weight in 3 months. So I was like, listen, you have worked out consistently for 3 months. You have ensured that you eat healthy, right? You have ensured that you're eating more protein. I think this is far more better than losing a couple of pounds in a month.
Yeah.
Right?
Of
Because
course.
at the end of the day, this is what's going to matter long term.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
You've talked about injuries, right?
Yes.
How do you train yourself so that you can prevent them, or how do you prevent them when you're like competing?
Okay, so very good question.
I don't know if it's
a very valid question.
Okay.
Very valid question. First question is, injuries are inevitable. They can happen to
100%.
anyone, anytime. You could be in something so stupid could happen to you and you will get injured.
You wake up in the
You
wrong
could
side
wake
of
up in the wrong side of the bed and your neck is screwed, or you'll just, not be mindful when you're stepping down and your knee will go like this and something will happen to it. Injuries are inevitable.
Yep.
One formula that I feel like I have cracked is, in order to prevent injuries or to become at least less prone to them, is number 1 is strength training. You need to strength train.
100%.
Because the stronger your muscles are around your joints, the more protected they are, and the stronger your body is to resist it. Even if there's an awkward angle, your body will be very quick to jerk and protect itself, and your body has its own mechanism to protect itself. I have been injured a lot, and I have also rehabbed those injuries and tried to come out of them, and I have worked on them, and I think strength training has been the main primal focus of those of all that, like from anywhere from finger to knee to like everything. Strength training and rehabbing the injury correctly until it comes back to full range of motion without pain. Going to a good orthopedic and going and showing the injury wherever you have it, and most importantly, not just rehabbing it, consistently rehabbing it. And not making stupid decisions like, going into training like after 3 months when you've been told not to go for 3 months, you've been told sit out for 6 months. But yes, those are very debilitating times. but that shows you a lot about your character and how you're able to heal yourself.
Yeah.
And you lose. What happens when you get injured? You basically lose strength. That's what happens. You lose strength in the part where you've been hurt. So the idea of rehabbing it is to bring it to a point where first it slowly heals and the range of motion comes back, and then you can focus on building strength in it. Ice baths.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, like, what steps do you take to prioritize recovery?
Two things. When I'm on the way to recovery, for example, I will be out of training for even like 2-3 months if need be. I will wait for it to become at least 100%, 95 to 100% better, and then I will go back to training. I will work on strength training, I will work on resistance training. That includes resistance bands, that includes lighter weights, more reps. It also includes heavier weights on some days. Compound lifts and isolated lifts all come into that. And ice baths, of course. Ice baths, the days like you can just go in there, you need to practice Wim breathing, you go get inside an ice bath, it gives your body excellent recovery. Hot cold therapy in the areas where it's required, and also days where your body is really sore, I would say helps with recovery. Epsom salt.
Okay.
You just put Epsom salt in some lukewarm water to hot water and just slide into a tub and you lie in there, and I think that recovers your body nicely. But the main element of recovery is that you need to pay attention to what injury it is, where it is, and what's the severity of it.
Yeah.
Of course, God forbid, like for example, if someone has a full tear in their knee, that is something that will have to be looked into, right? Which a doctor can advise better on. But if someone has a partial tear, the idea is to just not do anything to that part until it slowly starts regaining. It needs to heal first. What we do is that halfway through, we're like, okay, don't stop moving though. Like if you've hurt your arm or whatever, let it sit stagnant for a couple of weeks. 3rd week, slowly start opening up. 4th week, a little more. 5th week, start pulling a resistance band. 6th week, start coming on weight. Then after that, after the 3rd month, you notice a significant difference like your body. So what you've done is, that period, you have not stagnated. You have healed it and built strength in it for it to become better. So that's ideally how
you
it should
slowly gain back momentum that you lost.
You should never stop moving it, because what ends up happening is, yes, of course, I understand initially when there's swelling and you get hurt, you can't move it, you shouldn't. But after the 1st week, you should not stop. Like you should not stop moving anything.
I'm guilty of it because, whenever I've like gotten hurt in the past, I would sit for like a couple of days and then I'd be like, no, I need to go back.
Yes,
because this.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction, and you can't sit still.
Does it happen with you as well?
Of course. Like when I was, I had an injury last year and I was out of training for 3 months. And in those 3 months, I was not allowed to do Jiu-Jitsu at all. Like at all. And I was so frustrated. Because Jiu-Jitsu in general, right? It's not just, I'm passionate about the art or the sport. It's allowed me, historically looking at my practice all the way from Karachi down to here, it's allowed me to cope with a lot. It's allowed me to cope with a lot mentally. Like it's allowed me to, because when you're grappling, your brain and your entire body is fully engaged. There's no part that's not active. So that in itself allowed me to just cope with a lot mentally. Endorphins, your serotonin levels, your dopamine levels, everything starts getting sorted out, And it's almost addictive. Like once you just start doing it, you just can't stop doing it.
You just can't stop.
So when I couldn't do it for 3 months, I was like, shit. But then I sat out. I spent those 2 weeks not doing anything at all. 3rd week, the resistance band came in. 4th week, made my way to the gym. Started using weights and walking with them first. Baby steps until I was finally pain-free. And I got there. But I have to say it was very frustrating and I wanted to kill somebody.
So and I'm sure it's been a journey.
It's been a journey, and I think that the most important thing about injuries is they're inevitable. But with training, you said, how to prevent injuries. Be mindful in training. You don't have to train with every guy, right? If you feel like someone is going harder, you don't have to go with them, right? Or if you feel like someone's going to bite your head off, you don't have to go. But even if you're going with someone hard, be mindful of your own posture, your own position, how you stand, how you're guard passing, how you're moving, how you're transitioning. You need to be mindful of your own body. If you know your knee is going in an awkward angle, just stop. Go back to where you were. There's no need to push yourself in that angle only to discover some new position and then suddenly just pop something in your,
Just baat hi ho jati hai
yeah,
thoda sa.
it happens.
It does happen.
Has happened to all of us.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to be mindful of yourself. It's very easy to blame the other person also. And of course, you should definitely have training partners that are mindful of you. But over here, when you're training hard, the other person is not going to be gentle with you when you're having competition rounds or when you're trying to train something very difficult.
Just like, sorry. Yeah, it's fine.
So when you're trying to, train at that level, it's not going to be easy, but you have to be mindful of yourself first, and
100%.
then obviously request the other person to be mindful of their own self as well.
Yeah.
So this is something that I've learned.
What if you're just not feeling like... I'm sorry. That was an ancient...
Very weird.
Yeah, very weird. Like, anyways. So what if you don't feel like you can push yourself harder, but you still want to train, and the trainer that you're working with, they're just being extra hard on you?
No.
How do you communicate it out without feeling like you're just being...
Okay, for starters,
It's like it feels like I'm in an airspace, in a spaceship, traveling somewhere, and I've been...
These are cameras.
And these are,
Okay, okay, keep going on then. Okay, no, your coach or your trainer is always going to be hard on you, and they're going to push you to do your best. They're always going to try to do that. When I got injured, I decided that I'm not going to be putting myself in a situation where I cannot go hard.
Okay.
You first have to take accountability for yourself.
Okay.
So listen to your body.
Okay.
At that point in time, my body told me that right now you can resistance train, you can strength train, but you cannot do Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
But when my body said now you can do Jiu-Jitsu, that is when I went back to Jiu-Jitsu. Even then, my coach, of course, was mindful with me because I had come back after 3 months and I was not training with every single individual. My training was more focused on my coach and, of course, more senior students, higher belts who are far more technical and less aggressive and want to barrel into you. They were much more mindful and they obviously supported me through it. I'm actually very grateful to my coach in particularly and all those guys who were with me there because it was very bad whatever had happened and it was very mentally debilitating for me, but the fact that I was able to go back to training and I'm able to come back to normal training without feeling any pain in any part of my body anymore whatsoever, and it was a nasty injury, but the fact that it's fully healed and I don't feel any pain in that area anymore means that I did something right. 100%. I rehabbed it correctly, I waited, I was patient, I went back, I slowly eased into training and I slowly picked up the pace until finally when the competition time was coming, even closer to that time, the doctor did not give me clearance.
Yeah.
He did not give me clearance to play, I still played.
Were you on meds?
I was not on meds. I was only on meds on the first week. I was on an anti-inflammatory because it was a tear.
Okay.
So I had to take an anti-inflammatory and I had to obviously I had to really rehab it correctly because the thing was a tear, once there's a tear then it keeps moving and that area keeps getting inflamed. But now it's almost close to
how long ago was
non-existent, about 8 months ago.
8 months ago?
Yeah.
That's fairly recent.
Fairly recent, and the fact that I was back after 3 months and I eased into training and then after the 6th month I was still training and even now I don't wear any support or anything. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't.
That shows that you're doing something right, 100%.
Yeah, because now I trained yesterday and I had good rounds and I didn't wear any support or any brace or any kind of tape or anything and I was okay. So it's more like you have to just listen to your body. There are days where I feel like I'm done, I can't even get up. That day I just don't go. Yeah. And mostly that's if I feel like my sleep has been compromised. But I very genuinely try to get an optimal 8 to 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep, which I think is the best medicine of the world.
Would you say it's important to prioritize breaks in your training regime? Sure, there are days when you just don't want to do anything like you just said.
Of course.
But then there are days where, should you have, periodized breaks in your training program or your training regime?
I think Jiu-Jitsu is one of those things where once you just get into it, then you just keep going ahead and you keep doing it.
So it's unlike bodybuilding.
It's unlike bodybuilding. It's something that you have to, if you want to get better at Jiu-Jitsu, you have to keep doing Jiu-Jitsu, There's no possible... Sorry.
There's
no possible if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, you have to keep doing jiu-jitsu. There's no possible other thing you can possibly do to be getting better at it. You just have to keep becoming more fluent with your drills and your techniques.
Okay.
Right? But of course, strength training, like I said, is a component. Cardio is a component. These are all components that elevate your performance.
Okay.
I wouldn't say periodized breaks. Periodized breaks are, of course, used a lot in Olympic lifting. They're used a lot even in... periodization is very fluid, I feel like. Wherever a coach is coaching you and they try to periodize your program, there is probably some resonance behind why your program is becoming periodized. I have never faced periodized training. The only time I've ever taken an off during my training is when I have had an injury.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have not had periodized training. And the other time I have taken a break is when I've gone on a vacation. But even on a vacation, I found time to train there.
Yeah.
Obviously you have to sweat it out. It's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm on a personal level, I'm someone who would even periodize, even if while I teach, I never periodize the training. The idea is to keep changing the programming so that your body keeps experiencing different kinds of things. Your body also goes into shock. So as your body reacts to different things, it shocks your system and your body keeps getting used to new ways of working. Like
so new stimulus.
Yes, new stimulus. Like people, if you've been strength training for an entire month, shock your system, take a week off, then get onto cardio. You'll notice a significant shred and then you get back into building lean muscle again. Your body will keep going through these different kinds of transformations. And the idea is to keep changing your programming anyway. You should never stick to one drug. You should have a combination of all. Just like you have water, light, and air and food with your workouts, you need strength, you need mobility, and you need cardio, and you need yoga as well. You need all four. You need to keep changing them and you need to put a little bit of it. No one is saying, there's also a concept of it's too much. Too much. No, it's the quality of what you do in those 20 minutes.
Yep.
If you have taken out 20 minutes to stretch out properly, that is quality stretching, which means you have allowed that particular area to elasticize, you have stretched out correctly, you don't have soreness in your hams or whatever other part of your body you're struggling with, right? The idea is to, constantly keep changing it around so that your body adapts, our adaptability, becomes better.
Wow.
Basically.
So, okay. Now the other question that I have is, what sort of myths and misconceptions that you've heard about mixed martial arts and then health, fitness, in your time working as a coach, as a trainer, and then yourself as a trainee as well?
Okay, so like weird stuff, like not just even with nutrition. Like,
maybe 2 examples in each category.
All right,
Yeah.
Okay, like
Save some time.
strength training bulky.
Yeah.
That's the number one myth with strength training. Like you become
what would you say to the women listening?
It will make you lean, you will become shredded, it will not make you bulky. Please don't. It's probably the only great thing you'll ever do in your life.
You'll have the best physique of your life.
You'll have the best physique of your life, and you will have joints up until the age of 70. You will be pain-free.
Yeah.
So do the work now and enjoy it later.
Reap the benefits later.
Yeah. So that's for strength training. This is the number one myth. It makes you bulky. No, it does not. It completely transforms the way your body, is. I'm somebody who, in strength training, suddenly shredded lean muscle. Took some. Obviously, the diet went in hand, but the way lean muscle was built, it was doable. It's not like it's not. Cardio is all you need to lose weight. No, cardio is not. Yeah, cardio is the only thing you need to lose weight. No, cardio is not the only thing you need to lose weight. I disagree with this completely. It's a myth. In martial arts, particularly, I mean, there are quite a few myths regarding, I guess, I'm just trying to think at the back of my head what kind of myths they are that, you need to be doing. One myth could probably be that you need to be doing martial arts since like you're a child to be,
or otherwise you can't.
Yeah, or otherwise you can't.
You be flexible.
Yeah. I know people who are 70 years old doing Jiu-Jitsu abroad.
Wow.
Right? They were not training since they were children.
So you can start at any age.
You can start at any age. It's how, that's what I'm saying, you first focus on strengthening. That people don't really make it there. It's the 2%, 1% that actually makes it there because they've gone through all the work, they've gone through this entire vicious cycle of strength training and gyms and cardio. I think that martial arts is a step that comes after that. After you've gone through that runner, then you can be like, acha. But a person of any age can just come in and, slowly make their way. It's got a lot to do with...
That question was for me.
Yeah, it's got a lot to do with this. It's got a lot to do with this. It's like mental. Like it's the concept of not wanting to give up.
Yeah.
You want to keep going at it. It's something that you want to constantly pursue. Like for me, I had just this bone in me just refused to give up. I was like, no, now I'm going to do this.
So for Jiu-Jitsu, you need
Yeah.
grit.
You need grit.
You need resilience.
You need resilience.
Yeah.
You need grit, and you need to be in that headspace where you're like, bus. Now I
Keep
just
persevering.
keep persevering. I just want to get better. I don't care what anyone is saying. Yeah, there you go, perseverance.
Yeah.
You just have to want to get better. You just have to want to be better. There is no other recipe for it. And you will get better if you listen to your coach and if you train correctly and you eat and you're mindful of yourself. You will get better. You will.
Love it. Love
You
it.
will.
What else? What else do we have?
Myth.
Any other myth?
Carbs nikal dein. Just
So that's like a nutrition myth.
yeah,
right?
nutrition
that's
myth. Please remove your carbs. Also, lemon cuts fat.
Oh yes, I see so many people.
There
doing
is
this in
no
Ramzan.
scientific research that says lemon cuts fat. Okay, no, lemon does not cut fat. There's no scientific evidence at all that lemon cuts fat. All right. And also, if I do XYZ, I lose weight. No, to lose weight, you need to be as simple as you need to be in a caloric deficit.
Yeah.
That's all. And your caloric deficit should contain nutrient-dense foods. The third, if I have almond milk, I'll consume lesser calories. No, you will not. Okay, the chances are your body will suffer more from your almond milk than it will from dairy because our body needs the protein from dairy.
And also the nutrition, like
Yes,
other vitamins and minerals.
yes,
right?
it will plant milk will screw you up. Like I've tried to explain, unless you are someone who is having serious lactose intolerance or somebody who has literally their stomach goes bad at the taste of dairy in their system.
Yeah.
Right? Stomach going bad or lactose intolerance.
Yeah.
There is no reason you need to avoid dairy. Dairy will not, if you take even Greek yogurt, what is it, dairy? If you take it in limited quantity, nothing will happen. If you're obviously going to have an entire glass of milk and then say, ki yaar, mera to wazan nahi kam ho raha. The idea is we don't eat things in moderation.
Yeah.
We don't balance things in moderation at all. When we go in, we go all out.
We either on this side of the spectrum or on the extreme
Absolutely.
side of the
Like
spectrum.
for basic example, someone was like, oh, I'm an oat and chia bowl, man, it's so high in calories, it's like 650 calories. I'm like, yeah, because there's 8 tablespoons of oats and 4 tablespoons of chia.
And honey.
Yes, and honey in it, which is sugar, versus 4 tablespoons of oats, 1 tablespoon of chia, 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt. And no one's saying don't have the honey. What I'm saying is instead of a tablespoon of honey, have a teaspoon of honey.
Yeah,
right? That much sugar is okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell anybody here right now to shove stevia into everything. Yeah, unless you're going into a serious caloric deficit where you want your body to be ripped beyond belief, that is where you have to really cut all the sugar out.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell that the sugar can possibly happen. So this is basically what I would actually advise.
What are your thoughts on keto and intermittent fasting?
Okay, intermittent fasting, I would only tell people to do if you're trying to take a break from food. If you really want to take a break from food, please go ahead and intermittent fast. It's good because we associate a lot of our emotions to food. That's the only reason I would intermittent fast. Sometimes it helps me sit with my emotions better and allows me to focus more. When I'm eating, I use food as an escape for a lot of things sometimes. That's a personal thing, but I've noticed that food is one of the most abused forms of, anything. Like food is the most abused.
After drugs.
Yes, after drugs, of course. Keto, please don't do keto. I mean, unless someone wants to do keto and stay on it, but the only problem is that right after you leave keto, like I know, there are 2 cases, I'll explain. I know people who just go on keto, they don't exercise, they lose weight, and then a week later, all their weight comes back after eating 1 naan. Because their body's gone through ketosis and then suddenly they've put carbs in their body and their body's not rich, so their body starts immediately bloating and everything just goes off the charts. I do not recommend keto to anyone primarily because it's something which I say is not sustainable. It's not a sustainable form of eating.
Yeah.
You cannot be doing keto your whole life just to keep the weight off.
Unless you love cheese and oily food, maybe that is. Or
I mean, even if you want, then if you want to do keto, then stick to that keto diet and do your exercise, drop all the weight, but then your struggle will definitely come in when you come off keto. You will have to try to maintain the weight that you kept off by only consuming proteins and fats. Because when you start incorporating the carb, you will either have to be training more, or you will either be having to take the carb in very limited quantities to be able to keep your weight off. Right? Because you've put your body through a cyclical process where they're only used to consuming fats and protein to keep your weight off. So on a personal level, no, I don't recommend keto to anybody because it's not sustainable. If you want to have a sustainable diet, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You need to have the right amount of carbs and the right amount of carbs to bring your weight down, and then eventually you can shift on to which is something called maintenance calories, where you eat everything and you burn.
So flexible diet.
Flexible diet.
I love that. I love that. Actually, let's just wrap it up quickly.
Sure.
2 or 3 more questions, okay?
Go.
What are your thoughts on the role of mental training in mixed martial arts? And then how do you incorporate it in your training?
Okay, mental resilience is probably the number one thing. The conditioning that you go through, the battle that you face in terms of training, the first day you ever get into a class, a martial arts class, it will all be a mental test. There will be days where you'll want to puke. There'll be days where you will not want to come back. There will be days where you'll be like, this is not for me. It's all a mental test. And I think that even when it comes to physical activity, it is the first test is mental, right? Your mind gives up before your body does. I can ask anyone who's held a plank for 1 minute, which 1 minute is longer, a treadmill minute, a microwave minute, or a plank minute?
Plank, of course.
Your mind is giving up before your body does. But if you just sit there and you focus on one fixed point and you keep telling yourself, no, I am now halfway through, I have halfway left, you will notice your body also not wobbling and your breath going to those parts. So your mental resilience is very much required, and it will actually be most required if you are in martial arts. It's all mental. Even training camps, they're designed to make you feel like absolute shit. They're designed to make you feel like crap, like complete and utter crap. Though that is the time where you're like, no, I'm not going to give up. 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 Even there's sometimes rounds where you're like completely gassed out, like there'll be the last 2 minutes of your round. You're close to getting submitted. Someone's going to pull your arm off or choke you, and you're like, no, I just cannot tap. I cannot do this. I will not give up. I will not give up. And there have been days where I feel like I've been through all of that, but I think the main thing that has been is mental resilience. There's a refusal to give up.
Interesting.
System.
I second. No, I think mental resilience is the most important.
No, 100%.
Whether it's in mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu
even in the gym,
or nutrition or diet.
It's all mental resilience.
People give up when they start craving something. Be like, can't do it for more than 2 weeks.
No, and their bodies by default going into their old patterns. That's actually what it is. Habit-based coaching is more crucial. And just because the cupcake is lying there does not mean you need to eat the cupcake. You can avoid the cupcake. You can say, no, I'll eat it on the weekend.
So I think in our society as well, people really fear wasting food.
Yes, of course. Khatam karna.
Maybe it's spiritual, maybe it's religion, maybe it's whatever.
Could be a combination
of both. But they just don't want to spoil food. And I think this is the reason most people tend to overeat.
And also the concept of not being able to define how to eat at home. Because when in our homes we're used to eating desi khana, which is cooked by our cooks, and where it's full of oil, XYZ. What ends up happening in situations like that is that we get accustomed to eating that food habitually. And when you're not used to seeing salad on the table and you're not used to making it for yourself, like till today I don't eat the food that's cooked at home. That's an executive choice I made, because I had to decide that if I want to be this way, I need to eat these foods. So I altered my lifestyle to eat those foods.
So you prioritize this for yourself.
That is my choice, and that's a choice that I made, and that's a choice that I live up to. Right? Not everyone wants to make that choice, but then again I also see it from the perspective is that someone who's unwilling to do that for themselves, even with their diet, it's just sheer laziness. It's like, do you not give a damn about yourself to a point where you don't care about what you're putting in your body? If you really do care about yourself, then you won't mind making 2 boiled eggs for yourself. You won't mind putting a bowl of Greek yogurt and few nuts in a bowl. You will get up and do it yourself in the kitchen. You won't call Naveed bhai to come do it for you.
I love these numbers. Someone keeps coming. I think first it's Afzal bhai, now it's
Naveed bhai and Afzal bhai.
I'm really sorry, Naveed bhai, if there's ever any Naveed listeners.
Sorry, Naveed bhai.
Really sorry. Okay, so as a female athlete, what's your advice for women who are just starting out in their fitness journey, or if they have just started their diets, or if they are looking to start in mixed martial arts or want to learn Jiu-Jitsu, what's your best advice for these people?
Start with being consistent 3 times a week.
Okay.
If you feel like your body is super weak and martial arts is something that is intimidating you,
Yeah.
consider doing cardio and strength training, a very
Yeah.
simple program, uncomplicated, which just includes basic activity that includes going for a walk, coming to the gym and lifting weights and weight training. And after that, if you feel like your body is in a better position to consider martial arts, then slowly ease your way into it.
Okay.
That is my advice. That's how you pave the way. You first build your strength, get some activity. First become active. Because martial arts is going to require you to be active.
Of the basic stuff, and then
Get through level 1 so that you can get to level 2. But if you jump to level 2 without clearing level 1, like even if you come to train martial arts, and I generally do teach as well.
Yeah.
So if someone would like to come to my class, I will of course make them focus on their cardio and strength first, and then I'm going to ease you into getting a pair of gloves so that you can do some boxing, or you can do some kickboxing, or maybe do some grappling on the mats. I would not want to put you in a position where you feel like your body is taking a really hard hit because it's not strong enough to endure what is about to be inflicted upon you. So these are a few things.
So one of the biggest questions that I've got: how do you stay motivated, and how do you keep up with your training? Maybe like in a few sentences so that we can.
Motivation is required daily, like it's like bathing.
Yeah.
It's required daily. I think that what my motivation has been is that I benchmarked a very high standard for myself. Even if my country does not have the facilities to give those things to me, I have to give those things to myself. So I have set that standard. I'm looking at elite female grapplers abroad. I look at the footages that most Jiu-Jitsu fighters have. I look at all the kinds of stuff that's being done internationally. That's my benchmark. That's the standard, and that's the standard I hold myself to. And I have decided that if I want to be at that standard, then I have to keep doing this, and that's my motivation. It's like I want to be at that level, and if I have to be at that level, this is what I got to do. And if I have to be at that level, even if I live here, that's what I got to do. And I will continue to do it until I get there. And even if it means starting here, starting small, even if it means going through several cycles, months of rigorous training, even if it means going through whatever I have gone through, so be it. But I aspire to see myself as that. So stick to it.
Okay, so someone sent this message: how much injuries have she got while practicing Jiu-Jitsu? How would she encourage other women, especially who doesn't have support system and are extremely afraid of injuries, to practice Jiu-Jitsu?
Sorry, could you repeat the last part?
Yeah, sure. So how would you encourage other women who want to train in Jiu-Jitsu and who also doesn't have any support and are extremely afraid of injuries?
Okay, so as I said, injuries are inevitable. They can happen to anyone. The first idea is to just show up first.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't shown up first, also the support, the most support I think I've gotten was from my team. You will not always get support from your family. You will not always get support from your friends. You will not always get support from your colleagues. You will not always get support from everyone. Yes, at least from work as well, they've always been so accepting of my aspirations and what I want to do. At work, I get a lot of support. But your team will support you. Once you start training with the team, your team will drive you, and your team will start supporting you. But first, you have to show up.
Yeah.
You can't develop a preconceived notion and a fear that I'll get injured. How will you know you get injured? Yes, how many injuries have I sustained? I've sustained a lot of injuries, but I have also healed from them, and I'm still standing here in front of you telling you that it's been 8 months since the last time I got injured, and I am still going for training, and I will continue going for training.
And you're also going for another competition.
Yes, and I will be. I just did one right now, and I think I would like to compete in the next one as well.
Amazing. All right, so lastly, what are the last few words you want to share with your audience listening to this podcast, and any advice that you want to impart related to health, fitness, longevity, jiu-jitsu?
My advice on a good note is please prioritize yourself, put yourself first, because if you don't put yourself first, you've taught everybody else that you come second, and they will always treat you like you are second, and you will treat yourself like you're second. Try to be healthy by focusing on first showing up for yourself, even if it's 2 times a week. Start there, and try to work through how you hold yourself back and how you're the problem.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's always us who are the problem. So first, call yourself out on your own bullshit. Try to become better in that aspect and show up for yourself. Don't come to the gym for anyone else. Come to the gym for you. Come to train for you, and that is a great place to start.
Yeah.
So that's my
Thank
advice.
you so much for.
Thank you for having me over.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed this.
I also really enjoyed this. I actually had no idea until somebody mentioned that we could have you over, but I actually loved it. I hope our audience is also enjoying this conversation.
Yes.
I hope they enjoy it.
Of course.
That's it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
and
you.
if you have any questions, where can they find you, by the way? On Instagram.
You can just go on my profile.
Yeah.
So the funny part is the reason I called my profile jab, cross, poke was because it's a combo and punches. So this is a jab, this is a cross.
I thought cooking has to do something with your cooking.
This is a hook, but I turned it into cook because I have a nutrition background as well. And I keep posting recipes on my profile as well, which is why it has poke at the end of it.
Wow. So please do follow her. And if you're not following me, please do follow me as well.
Of course.
And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, everyone.